the first settlers arrived in the Kalamazoo area, Native Americans had already lived there. These Native Americans were members of the Potawatomi Nation, believed to be a branch of the Chippewas that had migrated south from the Upper Peninsula along the western shore of Lake Michigan. What is now the city of Kalamazoo was once part of an Indian reservation called Matchi-be-Nashawish, which was established by the Treaty of Chicago in 1821. In 1821, the Potawatomis signed that treaty, giving their land to the federal government in exchange for a yearly payment and some land west of the Mississippi River. They did not leave right away. However, since there were no settlers in that area at that time, there was no pressure for them to leave, so they continued to live as they had. When the first permanent white settlers arrived, the local Indians generally welcomed them, and for 10 years they lived together peacefully. As one settler, Basil Harrison, wrote, "We could have never gotten along without the Potawatomi in those days. They were our friends, and we were their friends." Finally, the time arrived in 1840 when the U.S. government decided to enforce the treaty. In Kalamazoo, Colonel Thomas A.H. Edwards gathered the Indians together for the long trip west of the Mississippi. Kalamazoo became the meeting place for all the Indians who had to move west. The Indians were encamped for several days north of where the current Amtrak station is, on Rose Street, just north of Kalamazoo Avenue. They visited local residents, many of whom had developed a warm friendship between them, to say goodbye. When the march beyond the Mississippi began, most walked, while the sick and the elderly rode on ponies, which also carried the tents and household goods. Infants were carried on their mothers' backs. They were reluctant to leave the home of their ancestors and were also concerned about the danger from the Sioux tribe that already lived in the area that was being assigned to them, but they had no choice. Along their route, they passed the house of Judge Ransom, the prominent Kalamazoo man who often befriended them in their dealings with the government. As they passed by, they raised their hands and headdresses in respect and farewell.